This is Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Chris Holden is joining us today. He is a member of the California State Assembly. Congratulations. I know you all worked very hard to get a new bond on the ballot. Democrats, Republicans, north, south, east, west. We have a new bond replacing the 2009 bond. What are the numbers, the basic numbers?
Well, I think it looks really good for us in terms of a lot of areas. One, making sure that in our region and throughout the state where there's contaminated soil and water, that we have money now to do the cleanup, which is very important. Stormwater runoff, we were able to capture it and make sure that we're doing things. And even for our conservation efforts, I think we were able to get a significant amount of money in
and I do want to talk about each area. We know the bond is now about $7.5 billion, down from over $11 billion, so many sides see that as a net plus. Yes. Let's talk about that storage element, the sweet spot for your friends on the Republican side and for your friends on the Democratic side in the Central Valley.
That's correct.
So storage means kind of above ground reservoirs. What do we know about the storage side?
Well, I think what we were able to do is see more money put in than ever before. And I think there was a lot of concern that the number had needed to be roughly $3 billion.
Right.
So it's just below that. The governor had to move a long way to get to where he ended up, but it was a significant investment, and I think it's going to be a tremendous boon to not only the Central Valley, but certainly to those who have been most concerned about groundwater storage.
Sure, about $2.7 billion. You mentioned groundwater, a very significant issue in the San Gabriel Valley, in the San Fernando Valley, in the Central Valley, all for different reasons. But what can you tell us about groundwater in terms of the bond?
Well, I think what we're looking at for the San Gabriel Valley is making sure that we have the same kind of resources in terms of allocation for our area. There was a goal to make sure that we were getting to a certain amount, and we hit that number. But what was really important for our area was groundwater cleanup and making sure that stormwater runoff, we were able to manage that in an effective way. And I think a lot of people ask the question, you know, when it does rain, what do we do with the water? So now we're going to be in a better position to manage our resources more effectively.
What about money for recycling? Do we see any money in that category?
There will be additional money for recycling, which is
technologies, of course.
For technologies and ensuring that we have all the resources in place and thinking about the future and how we can best prepare ourselves, and making sure that also in conservation we're doing the right things along those lines as well.
There's also the question of the environment. We can't deny that we need to look at environmental restoration. That was a significant issue for many folks, both Dems and Reaps. It wasn't so much, didn't split necessarily how you would think. We look at the Delta and other areas. What do we know about environmental restoration?
Well, I think we were able to hit a number that made sense for those who were concerned about the tunnel. They didn't want to see any money in the budget that somehow could be diverted to the governor's proposed tunnel.
That's the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, a completely separate issue from the bond.
Completely separate issue, and I think it got to the place where it was a high level of confidence that there was nothing that was going to be tied to the Bay Delta tunnel plan. But considering that restoration is very much an important area of the Delta management issues, we were able to get resources in there that got everyone comfortable and feeling satisfied that those conservation issues and restoration issues were going to be taken care of.
Let's talk about the voters, though. We did get a bond passed out of the legislature. 2/3, I believe you needed, but now it goes to the voters where you need 50% plus one, not 2/3.
That's correct.
California voters have been fairly generous in the past. Do you feel as if the voters will be as generous as they have in the past with regard to this particular bond?
I think they will. I think given the fact that the backdrop to this particular bond is a drought.
A big one at that.
And I think that the numbers were rising even for the faulty bond, the 2009 measure that was on the ballot. And so I think that this is going to recognize that a lot of the pork projects that were in that bill are gone. This is really a lean and mean proposal that I think the voters will latch onto and see the efficiencies and the value, and it's all good for the state of California, from Eureka down to San Diego.
There you have it. His name is Chris Holden. He is a member of the California State Assembly. I'm Brad Pomerance, and this is Time Warner Cable's local edition.